Hello and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. Thanks for staying tuned. I'm Mary Alale Yusuf. An unhealthy diet is a risk factor for several chronic conditions, we should call them, like high blood pressure, cancer, heart disease, and obesity. Experts have taught over the years that diet is about what you eat, how much of it you take, how much of it you burn, and in many cases, how you process it. According to the World Health Organization, 1.7 million deaths were traced to low fruit and vegetable consumption in 2008. It also caused about 11% of ischemic heart disease deaths and 9% of stroke mortality worldwide. And that's just for fruits and vegetables. What is the relationship between food and disease? And how can eating be used more as the solution rather than the problem? My guest on the show today is Dr. Olufemi Ladende, a nutrition consultant at Rencare Integrated Limited, Lagos. And he was a member, for you sports lovers, of the medical team that took Nigeria to the Olympics in 1980. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now, could you tell us, people say you are what you eat. How true is that?
Completely true. I add a little dimension to that. You're not only what you eat, you're what you absorb.
Okay.
Eating it is one thing. It's got to go through a process of breaking it down. Then you've got to absorb the necessary bits of what you've broken down. And that is when your body begins to get the things it can use to maintain itself. There are the 3 R's your body does: repair, replace, renew.
Okay, but I would have thought that absorption wouldn't come into the equation. Aren't we all supposed to be able to absorb what we take in?
No, unfortunately not. Actually, there is another catch-all phrase that has been around for the last 500 years. Death begins in the gut.
Is that correct?
Absolutely. Every single disease that you know can be traced to your intestine. It doesn't matter what you call it. Every single disease.
Stroke.
There.
Heart attack.
There.
Arthritis.
There.
Okay. Now you've got me interested. Very interested. But let me ask you, this has been burning in my mind. I read somewhere that cereals are not healthy. I mean, let me explain. We have cereals with extra fiber, whole grain, almost no sugar, and people say it's not healthy. How is that possible?
My question is, are we supposed to even be eating grains in the first place? Okay. Trace the history. When did we start eating grains? We started eating grains at the turn of the Industrial Revolution. Grains were originally created to feed cattle and feed other animals.
When we say grains, we're talking even rice.
We're talking even rice. And unfortunately, we have taken all of the grains and we have turned them upside down.
Okay, if we're not supposed to be eating grains, which I think makes a lot of what we eat, what are we supposed to be eating?
What were we eating when we were hunter-gatherers? You see, man...
Hunter-gatherers.
Hunter-gatherers.
Vegetarians will have issues with you.
Vegetarians, they can't, because 3/4 of what you eat as hunter-gatherers is vegetarian.
Okay.
It's fruits and seeds and nuts. You eat only the occasional animal that you trap or kill, and that happens infrequently, probably twice a week. You hunt down a rat or a buffalo or whatever, and you have that. And again, this is part of the problem. We were not eating a lot of animal produce, not too much animal fat, but we didn't have all the disease we have now.
Okay, before I lose track of this, let's go back to the greens, okay. But specifically the cereals, because this is what we take early in the morning. You know, you quickly put it in the bowls for the children. They hurry up, eat it, and go off to school. It's so convenient. What happens to them after they've been consumed?
Cereals. I take exceptions to them because what we fail to understand is this. Virtually all of the cereals that we eat has been processed. It's been processed to death. Like the word you used, convenient. Convenience is killing us. And there is no gainsaying that. If you eat a cereal, for example, I don't want to use names, commercial names. Definitely. Whatever cereal you put on your table in the morning. Which we put in our plates
and put milk and sometimes sugar.
Now, let's go one step back. Milk. Milk is the most allergenic food that we eat. It's crazy. Milk is meant for baby cows, not for human beings. Milk contains a protein called casein that your digestive system will struggle to digest.
But experts say that it's only some people who have a problem digesting milk, others don't.
They are looking at a different kind of sugar, not the protein.
Okay, they were looking at the lactose.
The lactose intolerance. Yes, a small amount of people are lactose intolerant because they do not have the enzyme lactase.
Okay, so there's a bigger issue.
There is a bigger issue. How about the protein? The casein you find difficult to digest. And that creates the beginning of the problem in your gut. It creates what we call a hole in the gut syndrome. But that's a whole new ballgame.
Okay, but we won't go into that hole, but let me just quickly ask, does that have anything to do with ulcers?
No.
No, okay, so it's something different. Well, then let's go to the grains you were talking about.
Grains are inflammatory.
Okay.
Inflammation is at the base of every disease that we know. So if grains are inflammatory, whatever we're doing with them, it cannot be right for our bodies. Because if heart disease is caused by inflammation, and cancer is caused by inflammation, and diabetes is caused by inflammation, and we now start eating grains that will double that inflammatory process, what are you doing?
Well, isn't it right that the inflammation is just in the gut? So why does it get to the heart?
It's not just in the gut. When you have inflammation, it's a whole body thing. You see, the mistake we make, and this comes from the fact that medicine developed during the industrial age, we see the human body as an aggregation of parts. And that actually, I believe, is responsible for the fact that you have a gastroenterologist who deals only with the gut, and a cardiologist who deals only with the heart, and a diabetologist who only deals with diabetes and all that. You have about 11 to 13 different systems in your body. They are all interlinked. They're chains in a chain. The example I usually use is, look at your wristwatch. You've got 3 hands, the minute, the second, and the hour. There are 3 wheels if you open the back of the watch. Each wheel turns the other 2.
That's right, they're all interlocked.
Right. Your 11 wheels are all interlocked. You turn one, you will turn the others, whether you like it or not. This is why occasionally even doctors start treating a particular problem. The patient comes back 2 weeks later, original problem is gone, but a fresh problem arises.
Okay, in today's hectic lifestyle, where we have people rushing off in the morning, is there a quick way to prepare a meal that is healthy, or a meal in a box that is healthy?
Yes, there is. For example, and I tell all my patients this, say, doctor, I can't cook in the morning. I say, you can boil an egg. Boil it in the evening, leave it in your fridge, so that in the morning you have 1 boiled egg that is ready to go. You're wasting off, fine. You can waste off, you have 1 boiled egg. Now, in the morning when you wake up, get yourself some vegetables. It doesn't matter what vegetables are, so long as it's dark green, right? Chop it up, put it in a blender, squeeze 4 or 5 oranges, use the juice, blend it, add maybe a little bit of pepper,
blended vegetables and oranges?
Blend it, and drink that.
Okay, with all the stuff inside, because people sieve all these things
Don't
out.
sieve. For goodness sake, don't sieve. Use everything. There is nothing in there. It gives you fiber, it gives you carbohydrates, it gives you some B vitamins, it gives you iron, it gives you virtually
I'm
everything
glad
within.
you said carbohydrates, because it looked as if we were on the warpath with carbohydrates. I got a number of these pyramids, food pyramids. Can you see that food pyramid well?
Yes, I can.
We have a very large base there of carbohydrates. There's bread, there's pasta, and all sorts of stuff. And then, of course, that means that more servings of that are required. Then you go to the next step and you have the fruits and vegetables, and on, and it tapers off at the dessert. Is there a problem with this pyramid?
A whole load of problems.
Okay, let's start.
I'll tear that down. I'll send you another pyramid.
Okay.
After this program, I'll send you another pyramid. Remove.
Oh, by the way, every pyramid I saw was almost the same as this?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore. You see, with the large amount of carbs that you put at the base, you are priming your body to age quickly, to develop diseases, and to die quickly.
Okay.
Carbohydrates eventually break down to sugar. Your body's most inveterate enemy is sugar.
Okay.
Even though your body uses sugar as a preferred fuel to generate energy, it wants to control very tightly how much of it there is available. And that is why we came up with this idea of a glycemic index.
Okay.
That is how quickly a carbohydrate releases its glucose. And the higher the number, the better the carbohydrate is supposed to be, because it takes a little bit longer for the glucose to get in your bloodstream.